What's going on, everybody? Here we are with the Samsung Q60D. Now this is the 32-inch variant, and the reason I did it this way this time around is because everybody in the AV industry typically is about the most expensive rich man TV. Not everybody has $1,000, and honestly some people want a solid 32-inch TV, and that market goes widely uncovered, unreviewed, so on and so forth. So I wanted to try something a bit different. If you like that approach, again, smack a like on this video, and with that, let's just get started. So as we look at the stand here, it's basically the same that we've seen in prior years, except a little bit more inconvenient. It doesn't have a screwless design. Instead, you do have these two screws, which again, it's not going to kill anybody, but it is a pain that we have to deal with that. Now the power cable is a detachable power cable, so we are able to use every ounce of that wonderful power cable, and the remote is again just what we've seen in years prior. No real innovation there. But it is nice to see that it is still streamlined, small, and it didn't get thicker with more buttons. Assembly of the stand is super easy. Basically, all you do is find this little hole and line it up with that hole there. Put it in, slide it in, and that little screw hole is what we're going to be targeting. It'll only take a few seconds to screw in, not very difficult, and then you can move on with the rest of the unboxing process. Now, because it's a 32-inch variation of this TV, it only has 3 HDMI ports, but you do have eARC, so that is nice. Don't know if it would obviously support the 144 Hz or anything crazy like that, but you have seemingly everything you need to get started. The design on the back is what we've seen in years prior. It's the smooth plastic, nothing new there, but it does feel nice. So now we'll take the detachable power cable and insert it into the hole there, just so we can see what this TV is about. Now we power on the TV for the first time, see what it looks like. You see QLED, and that's basically as far as you'll get if you got as unlucky as I did. More on this later. But essentially, long story short, it basically froze, had a lot of issues shortly after the initial boot up screen. You'll see it boot in just fine here, but again, shortly after that, it had a ton, and I mean a ton of issues. Now, right here, it's saying, what do you want to do? Basically, the two simple options. But yeah, it was a nightmare. For those that don't know, the two simple options are either the remote or the smartphone option. I usually always opt in for the remote option. And then it asks if you want to hook up any HDMI devices. And it also asks retail mode or basically home mode. But I always put it in retail mode just so I can get access to that demo so we can see what picture quality looks like. Now, after you select that, it'll take you then to your Wi-Fi settings. Once in the Wi-Fi settings, you connect, and then it'll ask you to accept all of the privacy stuff. Now, I want to stress at this point in the review process, or at least unboxing process, it is a very slow TV. The user interface is very clunky, and it takes a long time to load. So you do have to be very patient, or at least have some moderate level of patience. Now, after that, we're going to go to start the setup, and then it basically will take you to the same thing that we've seen in years prior, where they want you to, again, choose if you want to sync your Samsung account. But I don't ever really do any of that for reviews. I usually just leave it as it is. So that's going to remain the case here. I'm going to do that later, not right now, just for the sake of time and, so on and so forth. But again, I'm telling you, it sucked because once I did the update, which took forever, by the way, it definitely was not better. I had a ton of issues, and I just wanted to show this part off because it shows me updating the television. So shortly after unboxing the Samsung Q60D, we are basically in bricked mode in the weirdest way possible. Unlike a traditional bricking where you have zero functionality, this thing still has some functionality. So as you see, we still have access to the accessibility shortcuts. So we know that there's, I guess, something happening with the TV. We have the ability to see the volume button up and down. If we hit the pair button to see, we have mute, hit the pair button, it'll show you that indication as well in the top right hand corner in a couple seconds here. We can see that over there. Pair buttons working just fine. You can make out all of that detail. So I don't understand what's going on to where we have this issue to where, again, it's not registering normally. Again, accessibility menu works, volume works, everything else works except, Disney Plus. You hit the home button a bunch of times. nothing's going to work with the home button. Now we can get creative and say, you know what if we just turn off the TV and turn it back on? Well, I've already done that a bunch of times, so let's unplug it. Okay, so we're going to get up and we're going to unplug it. TV is immediately going to turn off. We're going to leave it for 5 seconds, give or take, right? We're going to go and count it off. I'll even be a little bit more generous and give it a little bit more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now it's been well over 5 seconds, and I'll take even longer just to let it kind of figure itself out, right? Okay, now we're going to plug it back in. Plugging it back in, it's going to show pretty much a picture. It's going to say Samsung in the middle like it does now, QLED secured by Knox, and then it's just going to do a little spindle wheel in the middle, and the screen's going to go gray, and the annoying Samsung starter music is going to come right back on. 3, 2, 1. And it should sound right now. There it is. No picture, nothing. Zero functionality with the home button. Can't go back. You really can't do anything. And at long last, after a bunch of troubleshooting, the picture finally comes back in. So I don't even know. Now it kind of went out again, but at least we were able to get the home menu up. But the fact that we had to do that 3 or 4 or 5 times, I would not buy this TV, not on anyone's life, because of that alone. That is a massive inconvenience to pay money out, and then you have the picture go out. You hear we have some audio dropouts that are happening. The relevancy of that is there isn't an HDMI device hooked up to this thing. It's just dropping out like that. So that's something that they got wrong. And then the other issue that we're having with this television is, again, it should not be happening like that. Even if it is a 32-inch, that still isn't an excuse, and I can only imagine paying even more money. Now, also the relevancy of that is the 32-inch was like over $550. Usually that's 55-inch territory. So they're already asking a lot of money for whatever reason we will try to investigate to figure out, considering that's the entry point for just a 32-inch that can't even keep its shit together. I don't know. But we're on firmware 1047 for anybody wondering. I will not be doing any more updates on this thing just because we tried to update it and it like crapped out for a while back there. So yeah, we finally got a picture. Of course, every time you tell somebody, hey, look, there's something wrong with it, it decides it wants to snap back to normal. But that was pretty wild. But you can kind of see it's still kind of fucked up because as you see, you hear the music, but you don't see the picture. It's still kind of stuck in the setup mode. So we only have access, I guess, to the UI at this point. So it's not actually fixed because you're not supposed to be hearing the startup menu while being able to access this. That's not a thing. See, like now it just kind of went out and it stopped doing that music. That's how you know there's something wrong with this thing. Not normal at all. So yeah, this thing is... this is not good. Not looking good so far for Samsung. I mean, like, even still, no matter what it ends up being, I still wouldn't recommend this thing because, no, I wouldn't want a TV that's this garbage. Like, what in the actual hell was that? We had to restart it at least 5 times, and now the music just now went off for the startup. But that was not, that took way too long. So we'll try to see if we can get a demo up. I don't really think there's much of a point at this point to get a demo up. I'm going to try to do like the troubleshooting stuff to try to see if that will show us a picture or something. Usually they have a picture of some sort. But I probably have to have an HDMI device connected to do that HDMI troubleshooting thing. But I'm not impressed so far. There's definitely something going on with this. And we can chalk it up to panel lottery, but we finally, at long last, after even on just this recording take, after over 5 minutes, just got a picture that says antenna disconnected. You're supposed to get that like right out the gate. For my Samsung users out there, you guys already know we're supposed to already get that. And for us to have to go through this much just to get a picture on the screen at all, that's a problem. That's a definite problem. So yeah, I'll keep running it through its paces. Let's see what it does after this. So now the store demo is triggering. It happened completely randomly. So what we're going to do is turn down the volume. It's taking a while to do that. There we go. We don't want to hit any normal or annoying copyrights. So at first glance, this picture is very washed out. Don't know what it's going to look like on camera, but as I look at it with my eye here, extraordinarily washed out. Not a single redeeming thing about it outside of maybe clarity, but I would probably say that that's the demo and not really Samsung doing anything special. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it does appear to be clear, but again, what we know about science is, again, the smaller the screen, the tighter the pixel density, which increases clarity and sharpness. So not really that impressed with that part. More or less, the colors are very washed, though, and this is their quantum AI processor Lite. I'm not impressed. So far, I think there is a lot that needs to be fixed with this damn thing. Preferably the wonkiness of the user interface and that whole thing we just went through, that was unacceptable and something I think many of you would probably just box the TV up and return it right then and there. You probably wouldn't even give it the time I gave it to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, once you don't see a picture, that's kind of where we call it a deal breaker. But as far as picture quality, it's lackluster. There's nothing really special about it so far. It is sharp. Maybe there will be something redeeming post-calibration. We will get pre-calibration numbers up for, again, all of my enthusiasts out there that want to see that kind of stuff. Provided the picture doesn't die again and we were able to finish the review, we'll be able to get a lot of other things going, like, I don't know, seeing how it does with PC, with gaming and things like that. As you guys see, I've already got the rig set up and ready to go because, you know, it's a 32-inch, and I mean, come on, somebody out there is going to want to try to use this for gaming, and maybe they might not mind the awful, stressful setup process that I had to deal with. But you never know. Maybe it could be a one-off thing for just my unit. I highly doubt it, but, you know, let's just give them that. Let's pretend that's exactly what it is, right? But that being said, a very underwhelming start for Samsung in 2024, being that this is the first product from them that I've looked at. I am sincerely hoping we do not run into this on their more premium flagship models like the S95D this year. But again, I will be covering everything and showing you in real time, so you have the information. That being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.